McCoy.
Good morning, everybody, and thanks for joining us for the PHNX Suns pregame show brought to you by the DraftKings Sportsbook app, America's #1 sportsbook app. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so that you know whenever we are live. I'm Lindsay Smith here with Saul Bookman, Gerald Bourget, and Espo. And today the Suns will face off against the Oklahoma City Thunder for the second time in a very short amount of time. Y'all excited?
Third time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, third, I guess.
Yeah, and then they get again.
That's true, I forget.
Yeah.
Good God.
It's like a jam-packed, just same team.
Who the hell did the
Have fun.
scheduling where they're like, yeah, okay, see you 4 times at the after the All-Star break? That sounds good.
I'd rather have that than 4 times against the Pelicans.
Yeah,
something
well, that's
like
true.
Early in the season.
True.
Yeah.
But as players, you got to make 2 trips to Oklahoma City. So, that kind of sucks.
At least it's not too far away.
Yeah.
Could be worse. It could be a lot worse. So Oklahoma City Thunder, obviously the last time these two teams faced off, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander was not playing, which I think helped the Suns a lot, but he is available for tonight's game, so that'll change things up a little bit. And then I know we're skipping ahead here a little as far as looking at tidbits and injury report, but I think that's kind of the bigger storyline for this matchup. So on the Suns side of things, Kevin Durant is out. Deandre Ayton is also out. But Landry Shamet is in. We will see Landry Shamet for the first time in a little over 2 months now. I think, January 16th was the last time he suited up for the Suns?
Yeah, and it's actually, I mean, I know people have their feelings about Landry Shamet, but when you look at the bench rotation and the search for kind of consistency at that 2-guard spot, like he is a guy that is better defensively than both Terrence Ross, obviously, and a little bit better than Damian Lee. They value his ability to fight over screens, also run offense, play in 0.5. And when Kevin Durant returns, I think Landry might get an opportunity to shine a little bit more if he's more in an off-ball shooter role in the corner. That's something that he would be good at. So there are some real questions about who's going to get those minutes moving forward. But it's good to have him back on the floor, and he probably won't play very much today. But it'll be good to see him again for the first time in 2 months.
Yeah, I mean, it's bananas how long he was out, but I'm looking forward to seeing his consistent 3-point shooting, right? If he finds himself in the corner like we've seen, a Kogi and Ish Wainwright and those guys, I think he could be so much more of a consistent shooter in that way. And so I'm hoping he finds his spot on this team in the second unit, because I think he could calm some of that down that we've seen.
You got 2 weeks, guys. You got 2 weeks.
The hope is alive.
You got 2 weeks.
The hope is
Because
alive.
once KD comes back, he's not getting 35. So if it's going to happen, it's going to happen in the next week and a half. So you better hope it happens.
I thought you were saying playoffs don't count in the bet. I could see Landry going off for 40 in the playoffs. Hey, Eddie said that TJ Ward could win a game, and I think he scored 2 points for this team so far.
I mean, listen, TJ Warren could win a game because all it takes is one shot,
Well,
as opposed to
that's fair.
35 points.
That's fair.
Oh, my goodness. So, Gerald, what exactly, because we still weren't totally sure what was going on with Landry.
Yeah.
Did he kind of give a little bit of information or insight onto what it was?
Yeah, so obviously with them being on the road, Dwayne Rankin was all over this. But he was writing that because in college, Landry Shamet had a stress fracture in his foot and he needed screws to be put in his foot, it was showing the same kind of warning signs with this injury. So they kind of had to back off and let that heal before it got to the point of another major stress fracture in his foot. And he said he was dealing with other things like just discomfort, soreness, inflammation, soft tissue type stuff, even aside from letting the bone heal. So it was kind of a weird situation. They weren't 100% sure what they were dealing with and just kind of had to play it by ear. But yeah, 2 months is a long time to be dealing with that kind of thing, and it's a little scary, but fortunately he was able to avoid another stress fracture.
What we're missing on that injury report is RIP to your old computer. Vince.
I know.
I just noticed that.
Yeah.
So somebody said in the chat, what happened to all the stickers? I was like, what? I was like, oh.
It's an exciting time. I finally upgraded from like a 12-year-old computer that I've had forever. That it served me well and it was still going well, but I got a nice little hand-me-down. So I just am waiting for the case to come in, and then I'll re-up my
Must have
sticker
had it.
game. But I am sad about some of the stickers on my old computer because I loved them
Must
so
have been
much.
left keyboard soreness.
It
That's what
was.
is.
Much like the trade deadline, sometimes you have to give up something you like to get something better. And
Yeah,
you did that.
I
And
know.
I'm proud of you.
And I'm still, just like the trade deadline, I'm still in that weird mixed bag of emotions
Know how to
phase.
feel.
We'll hopefully in a week, once I get used to all of this, it'll be better.
I had one question. So it was a different. You brought up the stress fracture he had in college. It was a different spot, not the same thing. This was something similar. You're saying?
I'm not 100% sure, but it says in the article he had a stress fracture in his left foot and his right foot in college. So it was probably something fairly similar because it did say in the article that he could see the warning signs again. But it did sound a little bit different in terms of how they handled it and what he had to deal with after the fact.
Which is so interesting.
Yeah.
Like, and the fact that they even kind of, because didn't Monty come out at one point in time and be like, we don't really know what we're dealing with at all. And it's kind of one of those weird things where we're just trying to figure it out. They made it sound so like doomsday-y.
And Landry was like, wait, I know what I'm dealing with. I had this twice before.
Like, we were all over here like, gosh, I hope it's not career ending kind of a situation for him.
Yeah.
Like, I just wish that they were a little more forthcoming so that we don't immediately, granted that is our own doing to jump through to the worst case scenario, but it's kind of hard not to when you're told that they can't figure out what it is. I'm like, aren't you guys the pros?
Right.
Yeah, when the doctors can't figure out what something is, I
It's a
think
little
jumping to
scary.
the this isn't good is a pretty solid conclusion to go with. You know?
Sheesh. All right. Well, that's the injury report. But with DA being out, obviously, that means we're going to see either Busy or Jock in the starting lineup. I know a lot of people wanted to see Jock inserted in there, but it is going to be Bismack Biyombo. How do you guys feel about this decision?
I think it makes sense. You need the defense, right? This is the third highest scoring team, points per game in the NBA in OKC. And I think you need Bismack out there to kind of anchor it. That as bad as at times as Deandre has been on the defensive end this year and the whole team has, that's still one of his primary roles on this team. So I think Bismack can fill in more than admirably in that, and then you can get that scoring punch off the bench with Jock as well. So I think that's probably the mindset here.
Yeah, I think you go with the big that most closely replicates what DA does in the starting lineup. So you keep your rotations intact, you keep Jock comfortable in that second man role. So I wouldn't look at it as like a demotion for Jock or he missed an opportunity to start. It's more they need to get some type of uniformity with their rotation, some type of continuity. So this is the best way to do that.
I mean,
Would you have preferred to see Jock?
A little bit. Yeah, I think I just think that Jock. Yeah, I agree to the defensive point. Like the one thing that the Suns are lacking severely right now is just their defensive overall performance for the last month has been pretty lackluster. Even with KD in the fold, they got to get better. And so Biz gives you that opportunity to be able to right some wrongs and really maintain kind of this. He replicates what DA does outside the offensive side very, very much. So outside of an alley-oop dunk, obviously. Mm-hmm. So I'm okay with it. I just think that Jock provides them a little bit better movement offensively. Is a little bit more of a threat around the rim and even from the perimeter, even though he's shooting like fucking 5% from three. I just think he gives you more flexibility on the offensive side. So it's okay. It doesn't really bother me that much.
Yeah. Also, I don't think it's surprising either. This seems to be kind of Monty's MO. Like, I think if we really take a step back and look at Monty's track record dealing with injuries over the last couple of seasons, this is exactly what we should have expected for tonight's game. Hopefully DA, though, is not out long. I know we did talk about that after the game, that we were all a little bit concerned for him.
Hip contusion. Every time I hear hip contusion, I'm like, what, do you get stitches? And, I always think it's like a cut, a laceration or something like that.
I'm not overly worried because Dwayne Rankin had the tweet that after the game, Deandre Ayton saw Emma Stone in the hallway and ran to her. So I'm guessing this is just a little thing and a precautionary. Let's sit out for a game or two.
I'm surprised they didn't say soreness.
One game in 5 days. This is the one you want to take off in order to kind of get right a little bit before you got some other pretty solid games coming down the road. So you got to get right before those games.
Yeah.
So one thing I did see on Twitter last night, which was surprisingly sort of fun was nobody was freaking out about where the Suns are in the standings anymore. In fact, it was quite the opposite. Everyone was feeling really good about it. Hespo, can you kind of give us a little bit of an update on what the standings are looking like?
Well, yeah. I mean, you got Orlando beating the Clippers, which helped immensely. Keeps the Suns a game and a half up on them. The Mavs are now a game or 2.5 games back of the Suns in that 6th seed, and the Warriors fall behind into that 7th seed. So things, as long as the Suns can keep pace, right, and play decent basketball between now and Kevin Durant coming back, I think they likely hold that 4 spot. Things could have gotten a little uncomfortable if the Clippers had beaten Orlando. It would have been a half a game separating the two at that point, and that could have been a little worrisome. But I think this is the Suns to lose as long as they keep pace here. If DA's out any extended period of time, though, that could change things. But right now, it's feeling pretty good there.
Yeah, they're okay because the Clippers and the Warriors have to pass them in. They have to have a better record. They can't tie it. They don't own the tiebreakers there. So they have to have an outright better record. Clippers 2 back in the loss column. Mavericks 3.
Yet though, right? Because the Suns and Clippers play in the last game of the season. If the Clippers won that game, then they'd be 2-2 over the year.
But then it goes to Pacific Division tiebreaker, and I think the Suns have a
better record.
Yeah, so I think they're good. 2 up on the Clippers in the loss column, 3 up on the Mavs, 4 up on the Warriors, and the Warriors have the most road losses in the NBA and just went on started a road trip. So I think they're going to be okay in that spot. You want to create some separation, like today against the Thunder, against the Lakers, rack up the wins where you can. Because it does get difficult. They got the Sixers, they got the Kings coming up after that. But I think they're going to be fine.
I think the other thing is I mean, we're seeing it right now. Like, there's a little bit of separation now between 3 and 4, because the Grizzlies and the Kings are playing well. The Grizz are the one team that I'm like, you might be able to move up to that 3 spot. And if you're the Suns, you kind of want to move up to that 3 spot. Like, there was a scenario a couple days ago where I thought, you know what? It wouldn't be the worst thing in the world to drop down to the 6, because then you don't have to play. You can let the Warriors and the Clippers at the time battle it out, so you wouldn't have to face both of them. And then the winner of that would have to play the Nuggets, so you wouldn't see any one of those 3 teams until at least the Western Conference Finals. I think now I would really, really push. I hope that they get to the 3 line, because I want to see the Nuggets in the Western Conference Finals. I don't want to see them in the second round. Like, not that I don't think we could beat them. It's because I want that hype. I want that hype matchup in the Western Conference Finals, because I want to stomp on their grave. So that's really just, it's a personal reason.
It's 5 games that was going to be tough to overcome in the standings to get to 3. I think that's going to be, it's going to be difficult. But, and surprisingly, Memphis, we all thought they were just going to completely drop off a cliff. They've won 2 in a row. They're 6-4 in their last 10, which is the same exact as the Suns. So I think it'll be tough, but I agree with you. I'd much rather see the Nuggets in the Western Conference Finals for that excitement than in round 2.
Although we might not see them in the second round anyway, the way they're playing.
Yeah, well, that's true. They've gone on quite the slide.
5 out of 6, all the sub 500 teams for the most part.
That was another thing that people were kind of throwing out there, like, sure, it would take a lot, but is there a scenario in which the Kings jump the Nuggets?
There is. I mean, it's not likely, but it's not impossible either, because they're 8-2 in their last 10 games. They've been playing great basketball recently, and like Saul mentioned, the Nuggets have kind of lost their mojo recently. So it's not out of the realm of possibility.
In a huge way.
I am not okay living in a world where the Kings find themselves in the 1 seed.
That's wild.
It's just such a weird.
That's wild.
Kind of love it.
You know what I'm not going to say, though? I'm definitely not going to use this excuse. I will never say, oh, they skipped steps. I'm not going to say that.
No, kudos to them. I just am not mentally. When we were in 2017, where it was Suns Kings, or Sun Kings, and both teams were just in the basement, to think that they could be 1, we could be 3 or 4 is a very weird headspace to be in.
Also, how much of a blow to the mental for the Nuggets to get jumped by the Kings this late in the season? That would be so difficult, I think, like from a mental perspective, to kind of grapple with. heading into the
Man,
playoffs.
to drop down to that 2 line after you've been in the lead that basically the entire season.
Like I could see that just like imploding that entire organization where
Drop.
they're just like, I can't. I don't know what to do.
Drop to the 2, face the Warriors as the 7. Could you imagine
Oh,
that
God.
scenario for the Nuggets? That's
Yeah.
like nightmare fuel for them.
Yeah.
I'm here
Shoo-wee.
for it.
Don't envy them whatsoever. But we'll keep an eye on it. But at least for now, we can all rest a little bit easier. I know last week it was a huge conversation and everyone was concerned, but now we can like take a deep breath.
You can't afford, and you're starting to see this, you cannot afford to go on a significant losing streak.
No.
You lose 3 or 4 in a row, you might find yourself in the play-in real quick. Like you got to, you can lose 1, you can even lose maybe 2, but those extended losing streaks have to be a thing of the past. You have to win games. Otherwise, you're going to find yourself in a shit world of trouble.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. Espo, what are the guys wearing tonight?
We're wearing the City Edition again. This weird color matchup.
I like
of the Sun City Edition versus the OKC Statement orange or red if you're Lindsay jerseys here. It is quite. It's quite a color matchup for 12:30 on a Sunday.
That's bright.
But we're here for it. So.
It's not necessarily easy on the eyes.
No.
We'll say that, but it's not bad. We did get a super chat from Frank. Thank you for your super chat. They said Emma Stone is okay, but we prefer Emma Clark at PHNX.
That's right.
Retweet.
Frank Kaminsky all over it. I love it. Way to go, Frank.
Also, so says Jay. Hey, what's up? Haven't seen you in a minute. Said, I just need to let you guys know that I'm watching while getting a pedicure. This is glorious.
Very nice.
That's a solid way
Self-care
to,
Sunday.
yes, exactly. You combine Suns basketball, but you're also doing something for yourself. I love that.
Actually, ironically enough, today Gerald is practicing self-care because my man was on an all-time bender the last 2 days.
You can hear it in the
You can hear
voice.
it
I
in
was
his
really
voice.
surprised.
Oh my gosh.
I was
Yeah.
surprised to see Gerald
Like,
out
We
yesterday.
went hard on Friday night, and then Saturday I look on his Instagram and he's at a brewery just chilling it. I'm like, how the fuck are you doing this right now?
I
Like,
don't know.
I barely have my thoughts together right now at
Yeah,
11 o'clock.
I
Gerald
woke up
tapped
11,
into
yeah, I
college,
saw it.
Gerald. Who
There
was like,
was-
let's go.
There was real pain behind those eyes. But no, I had some friends in town and they wanted to meet up at Gilbert. So I was like, well, shoot. We're just going to get up and go straight to the bar then. Here we go.
That raspy sound is just his liver crying.
That's
It's not
trying to get out.
Yeah.
Oh, no. All right, let's talk a little sports betting, shall we? Who you guys got tonight and by how much?
I got the Suns by 1. I think this is going to be a really, really close game. It's going to be a very tough game for the Suns, especially the way OKC has a lot to play for. They're trying to get to the play-in, and so I think it's going to be tough. It's going to be really tough.
Yeah, I have Suns by 6. I think this is a close game till late in the fourth. The key to this game is the third quarter. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander leads the league in points in the fourth quarter, average points in the third quarter, and OKC comes out on fire in that quarter. So the Suns are going to have to play really well coming out of half. I think they will. I think they build that lead late and win by 6.
Yeah, I got the Suns by 3. This is a very different matchup without DA and with Shai in the mix. I do think the Suns do enough to get the win, but I think this is going to be their most competitive game against OKC so far.
Yeah, I got Suns by 4. I was going to say Suns by 3 because 3 seems to be my go-to number for these, but then Gerald had already picked 3, so I said, well, let's just add another point onto this. Suns by 4 is what it is.
So I didn't put this in my bet, but I think Book drops his own diss track with like 40 some odd points. A little shade at Bad Bunny today.
Oh
so.
my gosh, can we talk about that for 5 seconds?
Give me 1 second. I am going to watch Booker extremely close in the first couple minutes because I know everybody's like, oh no, he's fine. But the way when he dove for that loose ball on the ground the other night and then he got up and he was kind of fucking with his groin, I was like, I don't like that at all. So I'm kind of interested to see how he comes out.
Yeah, no, that is something definitely to keep an eye on. Fingers crossed, knock on wood, touch metal, whatever your thing is, but hopefully we're not seeing any sort of injury situations happening with Devin. And if there is any legitimate discomfort or soreness, if you will, that they'll just kind of allow him to take a step back. And so, I mean, even his minutes tonight, that'll be a little bit telling too. If he plays low 30s or mid 30s, that might also be an indication that could be dealing with something.
Yeah.
So we'll keep an eye out.
So what did you want to talk about Bad Bunny?
The Bad Bunny and Book beef.
You see that?
I'm so here for
The
this.
diss track?
Oh boy.
What?
Or you had
So
a
Bad
line-
Bunny threw what people are saying is throwing shade at Book because in his song he has a line that says the sun in Puerto Rico is hotter than the sun in Phoenix, and she knows it. And then later on in the song he goes, "Step back, Luca," or "I'm a fan of Luca," jumper, like whatever. He's hyping up Luca in the same song. But the main line is the sun in Puerto Rico is hotter than the sun in Phoenix, and she knows it.
Did you see Booker's response that he quickly
Yes.
deleted?
So Book did a comment and delete. He left it up for 10 minutes and said something like, this guy's worried about another man again, or something like that. Man, all caps.
Yeah.
So we got major beef between Bad Bunny and Devin Booker.
Fuck Bad Bunny.
Exactly.
I didn't like his music anyway.
Oh boy.
As Marco says in the chat, one of our Valley sickos, Bad Bunny equals clown, and that is accurate.
I just think this is hilarious, to be completely honest with you. The song is called, I think it's Coco Chanel, is what it's called, right? It's Coco Chanel.
The song's called "Who Gives a Shit" because it's not any good. That's what it's called.
I think this could be really beneficial for us. It could go one of two ways, right? It could either Devin could just be all up in his feels, or Devin could turn the angry Devin, and
No.
I took that personally.
Bad Book's coming, and he's coming for Bunny.
That's Devin's MO.
But it all depends on how he really felt about Kendall.
I mean, that's
Is it
really fair.
Kendall, right?
Yeah, it's Kendall.
It's all because if he was like they got to the end of the road and he was like, yeah, I don't really care. I don't really want to do this anymore. And he just had no feels about it and he moved on. Then he's not going to give a shit about. He's more going to give a shit about like, oh, this dude's really trying to diss me, but not like because of his feelings about Kendall. And I think the feelings about Kendall is what would take him to the 40, 50, 60-point club if he felt some type of way about it.
I think he feels some type of way.
I don't think if Devin didn't feel some type of way about Kendall still, he wouldn't have commented.
No. And
True.
He
and
would
wouldn't
been
have
like,
deleted it.
This guy's a clown, whatever.
Yeah.
Moved on with his life.
Well, I think if he
So-
didn't care about Kendall too, he would have left the comment up. But
That's true.
So when you delete it, it's like, maybe I shouldn't have done that. I still care.
No, because this motherfucker wrote a song about you where he fucking said something
Yeah,
about you
but
in a
he
song.
cares that Kendall.
And he knows that Booker can't come out. What's Booker going to do? Create his own diss track? Like, that's not happening.
Tonight, he's going to create his diss track.
No.
It's like
He's gonna
Man
get
on
Damian-
Fire.
He's going to get Damian Lillard to do it for him.
Bro, if we get an Aaron Gordon type music video from Devin
Oh,
Booker,
I'm
I
here for
will
it.
lose
I'm
my
here for it.
mind.
What?
No,
I'm
he
here for
loses
it.
that battle automatically.
What
Oh
if Book
my
calls up Dame
God.
and goes, let's collaborate and burn down Bad Bunny,
Dude,
right?
I would love it.
Would that not be great?
I would fucking love it.
Oh,
I
my
cannot believe
God.
this is
Maybe
my
we
life
should design
right
a shirt.
Bad Book.
Oh my God, yes.
now.
Ooh, here we go.
You know the movie Man on Fire. There's a line: a man can be an artist in anything. Creedy's art is death, and he's about to paint his masterpiece. Well, Book's art is spitefulness, and he's about to paint his masterpiece. Way to go, Bad Bunny! You just gave him all the fuel he needs to carry him through the playoffs here.
I mean, why are they so obsessed with Book? He's not part of your relationship. Move on.
It's great. CB Cross said, pretty obvious Kendall keeps bringing up Book to her new BF. Pretty hilarious.
That's when you know he's in your head.
That's when you know. I don't know.
I'm just saying.
But we'll keep an eye on this.
He probably
and
had
keep
to
you
diss.
updated
He
on
probably
all
had
the
to diss
drama.
him because she keeps bringing him up. I'm just saying.
Elizabeth has the best idea. She says Espo and DJ Father are going to make a diss track on
No.
Book's behalf.
Oh no.
Oh,
Devin
we
will be like,
coming.
please don't.
No.
Please don't. Oh my gosh. All right, let's get back to the real topic of conversation. What do our friends at the DraftKings Sportsbook app think about tonight's game?
They think it's much closer than we'd all like. They have OKC by 1. I don't
Okay.
understand this, but all right.
It's the Shai and the DA
Yeah.
factor, I would
Yeah.
guess, and still not having KD. That would be my guess. And the Suns, to be fair, haven't really. They've lost a lot of games recently without Kevin Durant,
Mhm.
and they barely beat. Who was it the other
The
day?
Orlando Magic.
Yeah, so that's probably what it is.
I mean, I think if you're being objective and you're looking at Devin Booker and Chris Paul versus OKC and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander can score
Mhm.
at a high clip too, I think you're saying this is a pretty even matchup today.
Yeah.
I'm not sitting there going to say that the Suns are, far and above better than this OKC team. Not how it's currently constructed right now.
Yeah.
No, and if you get a good Josh Giddey game, this becomes way more interesting than some people might think. So,
Saul, Espo, what are your DraftKings picks of the game?
I took it easy today. At least I think I did. We'll see. I got the Suns plus 1.5. So, I think as long as they don't lose by more than that, we're good. And then I got CP3, 10 plus points. Torrey Craig, 8 plus points. And then CP3 is going to have to hit a couple threes because they're going to leave him open.
Okay.
I took a big swing today.
You did. You
I
did
took a
swing.
real big swing today.
Stay swinging.
So
Again,
Torrey Craig, first field goal, plus 950. I take the lead if I hit this.
I said this the other day, and I will say this again about you because you took Josh Okogie the other day. I said he's not even going to touch the ball in the first possession, and he didn't. Torrey Craig is going to touch the ball in the first possession, but no way he gets the first shot.
I'm still trying to find my Jay Crowder this year.
I don't think there is one.
Hey,
His name's Devin Booker.
Yeah, outside of Book.
Book ain't taking the first shot tonight.
You don't think so?
What?
No. Book ain't taking the first shot tonight.
I would say that Devin Booker probably takes the first shot in about 60% of the games.
Mhm.
Book's going to pass off. Torrey Craig's going to hit it. You're all going to have to shut up. Lindsay, you can talk. Saul can shut up.
Okay. Well, Mike B in the chat thinks it's Josh Okogie. He said first bucket today plus 1,000.
I guarantee both of you are wrong.
Yeah, I wouldn't put my money on that personally. I went with a super easy bet today because I have found that with all these injuries, like Kevin Durant being out and now DA being out, I'm having a hard time figuring out how I feel about betting on this team right now. So I just took the Suns money line and Chris Paul 8 plus. I thought that was assists.
I hope it's not points.
Yeah.
It was early when I sent this in, so it's a good Okay, I was like, it's a good possibility I screwed this up, but I was like, I'm pretty sure in my head I was like, assists, not points.
The bookies have lost total faith in Chris Paul. They're giving up money for plus 8 points.
It's the Suns money line and Chris Paul 8 plus assists. No worries, it happens. So that's how we're feeling. What is the leaderboard looking like? All right, so Saul at $254.13. I am at $283.04, and Espo is at $217.
This is a tight race. I'm really proud of you guys for all being in the green. To be honest with you.
It's fun. It's gotten really interesting lately. If
Give
you
me a
guys want to
few
get in
weeks. I can be out of it.
on the action, download the DraftKings Sportsbook app right now. Sign up with code PHNX, and new customers can bet $5 on the NBA and get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. Again, with code PHNX. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details. All right, we'll talk more about this in the post-game show, but it's official, y'all. Al McCoy is hanging it up at the end of this season. He is going to be retiring. It's a lot of emotions around this one.
Well, make sure to hit the radio and check him out. If you haven't heard him before, if you haven't listened before, get it in. Or if you're nostalgic, you only got a few more handful of games left to hear him on the call because he's only doing home games right now, and I imagine that'll likely be the way in the playoffs too. So hopefully the Suns can get a ring for Al because 51 years with this team and came close 3 times, but.
Yeah.
Still no hardware yet for him.
Get a ring, put him in the Ring of Honor, go out in style. That would be really cool for him. Obviously a legend. It's been his 51st season.
51st.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So yeah, that would be really cool. I mean, we already talked about how neat it would be if like Mikhail and Cam and Dario and all these guys got to technically get a championship ring this year, but it would be really cool to send Al that out on that note.
When I was a freshman, my first year down at the U of A, my first project in my journalism class, I had to interview somebody that I've always kind of been enamored with. And so I reached out to the Suns and I got a hold of Al McCoy. He gave me a cell phone number and we had an hour-long conversation for some random guy he's never met before, never heard of before. And I was asking a bunch of questions and I still have the recording at home. And he's always been a professional. He's always been courteous. He's always been kind to me. And so obviously a lot of people feel like that in their interactions with Al. So hopefully the Suns can win one because I think that would just mean everything for this franchise and for him. But I mean, either way, he's one of the classiest guys in the game, and he's going to go down the history of the greats like Chick Hearn those guys. So
Al McCoy is a legend. That's
is.
for sure. I know when I first started working with the Suns, they did like a introductory video for me, and it was Al McCoy who did the introduction, and I was like, I feel so special right now. I'm like, Al's that's the thing about Al, though, is he will make you feel special. No matter who you are, no matter what the situation is, he will make you feel like you're the only person in the world that he's talking to, and it's kind of neat.
Yeah, I had a similar story to yours. I interviewed him when he had his book, and I hadn't really interacted with him prior to that, and wrote a whole piece for a local magazine, and he called and left me a 3-minute voicemail after it came out, thanking me and saying it meant so much, and he sent it to his family in Iowa and all this stuff, and I was floored. Like, why nobody calls back after you interview him to thank you for interviewing him? So yeah, he's a unique guy. I'm sure we'll share plenty of stories between now and when he's done.
Yeah, absolutely. But wanted to mention that in case you guys hadn't heard the news, so that, like Espo said, if it's been a minute or if you've never listened to Al McCoy call a game, you should definitely do that sooner rather than later. All right. Well, thank you guys for joining us. We appreciate you as always. Don't forget to meet us right back here after the game wraps up. Bye.
PHNX. Hey yo, my lifestyle is retro. Tell the Phoenix Metro. Megas in control and he ain't never gonna let go. PHNX though. Lindsey, Gerald, Espo. Saw past the ball, we hit it.